let's talk about taking risks. Let's talk about living life on the edge a little bit, you know? I feel like I've made a few risky maneuvers in my life. Ooh. 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 Man. Yeah, definitely taking a few risks, that's for sure. Some of the times they've paid off, some of the times they have not. Some of the times it's paid off and it has not in the same risk. So, you can never really tell. But I've been thinking about this a lot as of recent. Just take the risk. Like, put yourself out there. Take that risk. I mean, when one decides to better themselves, when one says, hey, I want to make this investment, there's a little bit of risk to it. When one says, hey, I want to go up and talk to this girl, there's a bit of risk to that. You could risk embarrassment, you could risk losing money, you can risk safety, comfort, a lot of things. But usually what I've found is that the perceived threat, the perceived danger of taking the risk is actually much less than what is in reality. Like, when we look at this option, this opportunity, right, and we're weighing the risks, we tend to overvalue the negatives and dismiss the positives and kind of psych ourselves out. Like, for the financial investment, it's like, oh, I could lose everything, when in reality you could just put in $100 and then only lose $100. But we think, oh my goodness, if I lose the $100, that's worse than making $100. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was a study done where people had, like, there was a study done that if you lose $100, it's more weighed on our conscience than making $100. Like, the positive does not have as much of a determining factor in our decisions as opposed to the negative. So if there's an equal loss and equal reward at hand, we're more likely to say no, for whatever reason. Even if there is like a slight positive reward as opposed to like a slightly less negative, then we are still, I believe, more inclined to say no, which doesn't make sense. Like, if there's like, you lose $95 but you could make $100, I think like you'd still say no. I think the difference is like $10 or something. So like, you could lose 90 but make 100. I don't know. I'm rambling on with this one, but yeah, it just goes to show that we tend to avoid opportunities based off the negatives instead of pursuing opportunities based on the positive, which can become very limiting if you allow this to like close in on yourself. If you allow this avoiding the negatives, avoiding taking risks perspective to really like take hold. Because at least for me personally, a lot of the best moments in my life, a lot of the greatest things have happened when I've taken the biggest risk, when I've just said, F it, like, yeah, I'm taking a risk right now, but I feel like the positives will be much better along, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know, life's just more fun that way. Life's just more colorful when you take a little bit of risk. And the reality is that when it comes to pass, you're gonna be like, oh, that wasn't even so bad. Even worst case scenario, you lose the money, you get the rejection, the business doesn't take off, or whatever it may be. It's like, that wasn't so bad. Like, that really just, even moving out of the house is like a risk. You risk comfort, you're sacrificing comfort, you're risking security, you're risking embarrassment if you have to go back. A lot of things can be put on the line, but once you actually go out there and kind of make that jump and just do it, you're like, oh, that really wasn't so bad. Like, I'm actually fine. If anything, it's better than I thought. What is what you may be thinking. And similar things with just, investments, and I'm not a financial advisor, but similar things with just investments or approaching people or applying for the job. There's all these risks, but they're really like menial compared to the large, you know? Plus, there's no point in like living life in fear, which is easy to say because, you know, it's a natural part of just existing, right? Everybody feels fear, but I feel like you're risking more not taking the risk. If you know what I mean? Like, you may be risking not getting the dream job. You may be risking not having that business take off. You may be risking not finding a partner that's really good for you, or you may be risking all sorts of things that we're just not even aware of in the moment because we're blinded by the negative. Could be risking huge financial up. There's like a million different things that we just are intangibles that we just can't even comprehend in the moment because we're like, oh my goodness, but like what if this happens, or what if this, when in reality on the other side of it there's friends, there's love, there's success, there's glory, there's honor just on the other side, but we can't really see it until we kind of like pierce through the other side and then are able to see all these amazing things. It's kind of gross. So all in all, for myself at least, I'm gonna try and make an effort to take some more risks, you know, to put more on the line, if you will, put more of myself on the line, to not be so comfortable, to not be so okay, just chilling and letting the days tick by while I could be making moves, while I could be doing things to really spice life up, you know, to really live life on the edge, if you will. Now, something else to keep in mind is that there is a tendency, there are a select few that taking risks to the next level, where they just take a lot of risks that are kind of irrational, and I'm not a proponent of that either. I feel like there's like a nice line to walk, a fine edge, where if you're taking too little risk, you're kind of just a coward, but if you're taking too much risk, then you're sort of just manic. And I'm not saying that to you guys specifically. I'm not saying like, oh, you're this, but that's just kind of how I view it. And to like walk the fine line of just enough risk so that life is still like exciting, that you're still engaged and active. Not too much where things are just chaotic, and not too little where things are just boring, you know? But I've come to realize once again, I have said absolutely nothing new. This idea has been stated a million times throughout history, a quadrillion times in a million different books. It might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but nonetheless, this idea is not new, this idea is not foreign, and that's something I'm beginning to realize, is any idea I think I have that is new, original, or even like remotely interesting, or different, or not even different, any idea I have that I think like might be a good idea to even talk about, I'm beginning to realize that somebody has already said this before and has said it way more intelligently than I have, and it was probably said like 2,000 years ago. So it's like, what more is there to say, you know? And this is a little bit of a side tangent, but really, what more is there to say? Like, what has not already been said? I feel like the only thing that I would be doing in this case is just saying what's already been said, but in a different perspective. But like, how many times can the same thing be said, you know? I kind of have to wonder that. It's like, how many different topics can I make a video on? And like, how many of them are actually like an original, unique idea, thought, or perspective? And so far, I feel like zero. And I think it may be zero for the rest of my creation days, because, as I said, there's been countless creators for all of recorded history. And I suppose my creation is just yet another creation in the vastness. But nonetheless, I do feel there is merit to taking an ancient idea and kind of adding a modern twist to it. I feel like that's what everybody does kind of throughout history. Is there's like this primal truth, this primordial truth that everybody can observe, anybody can observe through all of time and has been observing, and people just like speak it in a new way. And not even in this idea right here, this is getting meta. What I am saying right now isn't even like an original thought. This is like somebody's already thought this, somebody's already said this is how I know about this. Not to say that, like, you know, it's such a great knowledge, but it's just like the only reason I know about this is because somebody else has said this and I read it somewhere. So it's like, what the heck? So it's like, what is an original thought? Is that even a thing? Bruh. Dang. This could just be like its own little topic right here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna split this into 2 parts, because like this is wild. Maybe not. Guy loses his mind on park bench. Boom, video title right there. What is an original thought? Damn. Because then it makes me think, it's like, is anything's ever said, like, has anything anybody has ever said original? Is there like is there even an original freaking idea out there? Is that even a thing? I feel like the only original thing around me, it's like, what's here? You know, nature, the tree. Like, this is an original tree that I'm sitting under. There is no copy of this tree. This is an original park. Like, this grass and all the trees in the background, that's all original. That is new. That is different. There will not be a second one of these. Well, then that goes to show that maybe we're all original. Every person is an original person. There will never be another person like you, or like me, or like anybody. Sure, there are a lot of trees that are similar, but this is an OG one-of-one tree right now that I'm sitting under. There's no tree like this tree. So there is no person like you. So then does that mean that all of our thoughts are original? I don't even know. Man. I mean, if you think of it like this is an oak tree, so there are a bunch of oak trees around, but this is a one-of-one, this oak tree at this park in this location. But like, I'm sure there's an oak tree down there. So maybe the oak tree is not original, but this specific oak tree is original. So maybe not like our ideas are original, or maybe not, like, you know, it's give and take. There's a bit of share, there's a bit of originality and a little bit of not originality. And everyone has their own mix of it. And I guess that's original in its own sense. Boom. What a fancy way of saying we're all our own special little snowflake. Damn, that's woke. Frig, bro. Am I a hippie? I'm not a hippie, but you know. So woke, guys, bruh. Damn. Anyways, yeah. This was an interesting tangent. This was an interesting little video. I feel like the winter's really getting to me, guys. Well, it's not even winter yet. I feel like the fall's getting to me. I feel like it's starting to get a little bit cold. My ideas are becoming a little bit more stale. I've got to camp out by the fireplace a little bit and warm up my mind, warm up my creative juices so I can make better videos for you guys. Anyhow, I'll allow you to enjoy this beautiful scenery in peace.